Good, happy Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome to Mixed Level Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. Today, you'll want to use two blocks or some kind of object that can create this level of platform and this wide. And we're going to begin in child's pose. The shoulders. Bring your feet to touch. Before you come to bow, let's extend the arms forward. Begin with your palms face down. And notice how your wrists are your shoulders distance apart. Press the shoulder blades down your back and lengthen up through the spine, up through the crown. And then begin to rotate your triceps, the outer sides of your upper arms towards the floor so that you can further broaden across the tops of your shoulders. Now flipping the palms to face each other and slightly up. From here, place your elbows on the platform or blocks, shoulders distance apart, not any wider. Then pressing your fingertips into each other so there's space between your palms. Have your legs far back enough so that you're able to begin bowing towards the ground on your side of the blocks while fall perhaps down the back of your neck, letting your head fall. But feel the contrast of shoulders back away from your neck. Lengthening your lower spine. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes to start, and I wanted to share from someone who's become one of my favorite authors, Marshall Rosenberg. He passed away, but he created this technique called nonviolent communication. I think I've referenced this book quite a few times already because it's become one of my favorites. And I'd like to share a quote from his book. He said, "Life alienating communication both stems from and supports hierarchical or domination societies, where large populations are controlled by a small number of individuals, interest of kings, czars, nobles, and so forth, masses be educated in a way slave-like in mentality. The language of wrongness, should and have to is perfectly suited. The more people are trained to think in terms of realistic judgments that imply wrongness, and the more they are being trained to look outside of themselves, to outside authorities, for the definition of what constitutes right, wrong, good, and when we are in contact with our feelings and needs, we humans no longer make good slaves and underlings. I love so much the strategies that he teaches about trying to understand first our own feelings in the moment, especially in the heat of a conflict where anger may arise and cause us to want to react. Taking the pause to truly feel into what's beneath the surface of this anger. Perhaps a different emotion like hurt from the past. And then from understanding those feelings, then we can truly come down to what basic need are we longing for in this moment that we can give ourselves. Again, as yoga teaches, we have what we need within. And it's this confusion, like the source of suffering called asmita. I talked about the roots of suffering a few weeks ago, which is egoism, of falling into patterns of to believe, like society standards, and forgetting that we have our own discernment. Remembering that we are not those judgments that we have been conditioned to auto-response project. So in seeing through asmita, or these judgments that surround us, so what is good, what is bad, what is beautiful, what is ugly, all these so-called standards, we go into the depths of our inner being to really feel what is it within ourselves that may cause us to judge another as separate, as wrong. I think this light of information is so important during these times, especially in the US where we're having the elections and so many arguments from both sides, that we begin to perhaps see each other through labels and not as another human being with very similar basic needs like belonging, safety, love, being understood. And then this comes into the first limb of yoga, asmita, which is the practice of non-harm, violence, and bringing that side of it into this self-inquiry questions. I invite you to think about how do you perpetuate self-conditioning or inhibit compassion for others as fellow human beings, similar basic feelings. How can we listen inward to our own feelings and needs so that we ears for others, true feelings and needs, beneath the way they may have been conditioned to express them? As we all come from different backgrounds and cultures, especially in the US, which creates this beautiful, diverse richness. There can be a lot of misunderstanding in the way people say things and in the way people receive things. Can we go beneath the layers of that and really listen with our whole being, as Marshall Rose invites? And then I want to end with two quotes that I've repeated many times, but like what the Dalai Lama said. He said, if you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. And then finally, Rumi, the poet, who said, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. So let's use this yoga practice to get into how are we feeling in this moment? What are we needing? And what can we gift ourselves in fulfillment of those needs so that we are looking to the source within? Now, as you begin to move the blocks aside, walk your hands back so that you can come to sit. We're going to stretch the shoulders just a little bit more as we're actually focusing on the throat energy center today, that of communication, the energy of communication. So take a strap if you do have one, and if you don't, you can do this without it. Sit in any comfortable way, and then raise your right arm as I mirror you, holding the strap behind you. Rotate your right tricep forward, and then bend the elbow behind your head so that your right palm can land between your shoulder blades. Reach your left hand underneath, grab the other end of the strap, or maybe hold your shirt with both hands if you don't have a strap. Walk your hands as close together as you can. Perhaps you clasp your fingers, and then close your eyes for a moment. Check in with how your body is feeling in this position right now. How is your body breathing? To allow you to better know how it's feeling and what it needs. And as you attend to whatever information your body is giving, use the deepening of your breath to let it know you're listening. Compassion through the breath in, allowing the lungs to fully expand and receive. Exhaling through the breath out. As you're deepening your breath, now closing your lips, invite warmth in your body to help in moving later. Let's take one more full exhalation through the mouth. Raising your right arm, place your left fingertips on the ground behind your pelvis and begin to turn your rib cage to face your left wall or your left side. Lower your right hand either onto your legs or maybe press against the outside of your left leg. Now feel the earth or what you're sitting on as you firm down. Allow another breath to uplift your spine. Broaden your collarbones, lift your sternum. Now as you breathe out, feel your belly softly hollow, turning your chest perhaps a little further, while releasing your shoulders down, offering space in your neck. Feel the capacity at which you're breathing, at which you're filling yourself up with life force. And the next time you breathe out, unravel your spine. If you are crossing your legs, I invite you to switch the cross of the leg forward or on top, just to even out a simple hip stretch. Now hold the strap in your left hand so it's dangling behind your back. Rotate your left tricep slightly forward, bend the elbow behind your head, lower your palm between the shoulder blades, reach the right hand underneath, catching the other end of the strap or holding your shirt with two hands, and walk your hands as close together as you can. Maybe they clasp. Now feel what you are pressing against to allow spaciousness and lift throughout your torso and the top of your head. As you allow your chest to broaden and slightly rise, seal in the bottom of your front ribs and allow your shoulders to rest down and away from your neck. Can you feel your breath now expanding into your belly, into your side ribs, into your chest? Softly constricting the back of your throat as you whisper your breath out through your nose. Here is smooth transition between the in and out breaths, as each equal in length. Lowering your right fingertips to the ground behind your pelvis, raise your left arm, then turn your chest towards your right side. Lower your left hand either onto your legs or on the outside of your right leg, continuing to lift your spine tall as you inhale. And turn your rib cage as your pelvis remains still as you exhale. Can you feel the space between your ears and your shoulders? The space between the crown of your head and your tailbone. The space between your left and right shoulder heads. On an exhalation, release your spine. And let's continue into downward facing dog. Listening to that whisper in your breath, now called Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breathing. Set your wrists a couple inches in front of your shoulders when you start from hands and knees right under hips. And then as you lift your hips high, allow a moment, if you choose, to paddle your feet in place, warm up the backs of your legs. Maybe do a little twist side to side, swiveling the hips to open up the lower back and the side body. Perhaps exploring any soft motion of your skull, feeling into your neck, your cervical spine. Noticing if you're carrying any kind of tension there, any rigidity. Letting go of any need to judge that as good, bad, better, worse. Simply allowing the information to guide how you'll be loving to your body and self. Now let's begin to be still. Point your index fingers forward so they're parallel to each other. Thumbs wide and flat as you rotate your triceps towards the earth. Bending your knees any amount needed, Lift your sitting bones as high as you can, dropping your skull as you also lift your shoulders up, back away from your neck. Feel your front ribs seal in towards the back of your body. Shifting your weight down through the backs of your legs, through your heels, even if they don't touch the floor. Steady your gaze on the ground towards your feet, and let's feel 3 more balanced cycles of breath through the nose. Looking between your hands on an exhalation, step your left foot there and pivot your 2 feet to face the wide width of your mat. Coming into a wide forward fold. Crawl your fingertips forward, lifting your spine parallel to the ground, and take a deep breath. Slide your shoulders back. Set one hand front and center on the floor or a block. Raise the opposite arm towards the sky. And keeping your hips level, begin to twist again. Turning your rib cage, twisting across your waistline. And if it feels okay on your neck, begin to look up towards, reaching high towards the sky to broaden your chest. Your chest across your arms. Imagine taking a deeper before you exhale and switch hands. Keeping your 2 hips leveled, raising the opposite arm, turn your chest in that direction. Inhaling as you lengthen your spine forward from your pelvis and out through the top of your head. Exhaling as you keep twisting, feel the reach of your top hand, helping to broaden across your chest. Maybe you're looking up towards the sky, adding mobility to your neck if it feels appropriate. Take one more breath. And exhale, set your 2 hands down. As you bend your knees a lot, hands to your hips, point your elbows towards the sky. Breathing in, lead with your chest and slowly rise up. From your hips, turn out your legs, pivoting your feet to turn out. And as you bend your knees into a wide-legged squat, allow some movement like rocking side to side to help warm up your inner thighs. Think of externally rotating your femurs so that your sitting bones point more downward rather than behind you, and your front hip bones slightly lift like you have suspenders, bringing them up towards your shoulders. And then as you use your hands to guide your inner thighs to splay apart, see that you're aligning your knees safely, that the center of each kneecap points in the same direction as the center toe beneath it, and your knees are only bent just about right above your ankles, not too much. And as you might sink your hips a little lower, breathe and lift your spine tall. Exhale, dip your right shoulder forward, look over your left shoulder, and as your thighs continue to splay, again, twist. But this time, moving to the breath, inhale, lift your spine to center. Keep your knees bent. Exhale, dip your left shoulder forward, look over your right shoulder and twist. Inhale, center. Let's try 2 more on each side. Exhale, dip and twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Breathe in. Breathe out and bring it out. Breathe in. Breathe out. So we're doing quite a bit to awaken the lower energy centers before we bring our focus to the 6, the throat energy center. Vishuddhu. That of communication, of expressing and receiving truth. So from here, keep your legs turned out, and as you firm your feet into the ground, toes spread, inhale, raise your arms and come up to stand, looking up towards the open sky above. Infinite possibilities beyond what we can see with our physical eyes. As you rebend your knees, exhale, press your palms down in front of you towards the earth, acknowledging the support of earth and all that is not seen by the visible eye, supporting you. As you inhale to rise again, sweep your arms towards your heart center. What are you bringing in? What are you taking in? What are you digesting? And as you exhale to rebend the elbows, expand your arms like wings as you share your own inner light with those in the world around you. Feel the gestures as you inhale, rise, hands towards the sky. Exhale, descend, palms towards the earth. Inhale, rise, invitation to heart. Exhale, descend, expand and share your own light. One more time, inhale, sky. Exhale, earth. Inhale, heart. Exhale, expand. Now as you come all stand heel toe your feet together to stand in mountain pose, setting your left hand on your heart center, middle of your chest, your right hand on your navel center, just below the belly button. Feel both stability, feel the ground underneath, and expansion, upliftment. Feel the openness of your body. Clarify your intention today. What would you like to cultivate? Perhaps a quality or a dedication you'd like to set and bring into the rest of your day and all your interactions. Honoring your own truth in this moment, let's awaken the throat energy center through the vibration of sound, 3 chants of Om. Take a deep breath. Back into Ujjayi Pranayama, closing your lips and whispering your breath. Softly open your eyes if they're closed, and let's meet at the top of your mats. We'll begin slowly in this breath-led flow. Bring your feet together to touch. As you inhale, raise your arms overhead, tilt your chin up as you gaze towards your palms. As you exhale, bend your knees and lean forward to bow. Press the ground to your legs. Inhale, lift your chest. Chin slightly tilted up. Exhale, crawl your feet back into plank pose, lowering forward and then down. Clasp your hands behind you as you point your toes, firm the tops of your feet onto the ground. On your next inhale, lift your chest, look slightly forward as the shoulders slide down. Bound locust pose. Exhaling, plant your hands beside your floating ribs, press up through all fours or plank, lifting your hips back to downward facing dog. As you inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhaling, bend that knee and turn open at your hip. Inhale, stay here and tack your left outer hip further back. As you exhale, contract your belly round into plank and lightly step the right foot inside of your right hand. Lower your back knee, untuck the toes, firm down to your right foot. As you inhale, raise your arms up to the sky, hooking your thumbs sort of like an eagle puppet. As you exhale, sink your tailbone down and forward, coiling your chest up as you slightly bend your elbows apart, slide the shoulders down your back, gaze up. As you inhale, lower your fingertips to the earth and straighten your right leg, curl the toes up. As you exhale, keep squaring your hips, leaning forward to bow in half split. Inhale, rebend your right knee. Step your left heel to the earth. Keep facing forward as we set up for warrior one. So feet are hips width apart. Press down through your feet. Inhale to rise up. So let's take a moment to set this up, that both soles of your feet are entirely grounded. Adjust your stance if that's not happening right now. Both of your frontal hip bones are evenly facing forward and the bowl shape of your pelvis is upright. Bending your front knee just over the ankle and sending your left outer hip forward. Then reach your hands behind you to clasp again. Bend your elbows closer together, and as you breathe in, coil your chest up. Hug your elbows closer together. Now you could stay here, sliding the shoulder blades down your back, or as you breathe out, carefully bow forward, lifting your arms away from your lower back and completely dropping your skull as you float your shoulders up away from your neck. Notice the grounded energy of both your feet, especially the left. Scissoring your back to maintain the squaring of your hips. On your next inhale, lower your hands to the floor, stepping into plank pose. As you exhale, glide forward to lower all the way down. Arms widely spread, point your toes, and this time as you inhale, lift everything you can off the floor. Pause here a couple more breaths in full locust pose. From rotating the fronts of your shoulders slightly back, see if you might be able to turn your palms slightly more to face forward, opening your chest as you press your shoulder blades down your back. As you look ahead of you, feel an open space at your throat. Ankles, hips width apart, feet parallel. Take one more lift as you breathe in. Lower your hands. Exhale from plank or hands and knees to downward facing dog. Let's take a deep breath here. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend your left knee and turn open at the hip. As you inhale, draw your right hip further back. Exhaling, round forward and softly land your left foot inside of your left hand. Lowering your right knee, untuck the toes from down to your left foot as you inhale to rise. Now, if you can remember which is the non-default way, hook the opposite thumb on top as you create that eagle with your hands. Tailbone descends forward as the belly firms in. Coil your chest up, looking towards the sky. Relaxing the shoulders down. Feel your open throat, open heart space. Lowering your fingertips to frame your left leg. Breathe in. Plug the thigh bone back. Curl your left toes up to straighten the leg. Chest forward. Exhale. Look ahead of your left toes as you fold in to a half split or Ardha Hanumanasana. Now as you inhale next, rebend your left knee, straighten your right leg and spin the heel down so your hips are evenly facing forward by having your feet hips width apart. Firming down through your feet, rise all the way up into Warrior One, Vira One. Let's spend a few breaths here. Feel both feet entirely touching the ground. With your back leg straight, your right hip slightly turning forward. With your front knee bent just over the ankle, your left hip slightly reaching back. With the bowl shape of your pelvis upright, firming in your lower belly. On your next inhale, reach your hands behind you. You can remember which. Switch the cross of your thumb and index, clasping your hands. Coiling your chest up, slide your shoulders down. Now either stay here or start to bow forward, letting your head fall completely as you stretch your arms forward away from your lower back. Lift your shoulders up away from your neck. Notice the strong foundation of your 2 feet and your 2 hips squared. From humble warrior or devotional warrior, inhale, lower your hands into plank pose, top of a push-up. Exhale, glide forward and slowly lower. Open your arms like wings. Same full locust pose. As you inhale, lift everything you can. Think of stretching your legs long, pointing your toes back. As you exhale, press the ground away through plank or hands and knees, back to downward facing dog. So this time, set your gaze on the floor, one spot. Let your body be still. Rebalance the lengths of your breaths. Preparing to finish this first sequence, bend your knees, look beyond your hands. On emptied breath, hold it out, lift your pelvic floor as you walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat. With feet touching, inhale, lift your torso halfway up. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, sweep your arms, gazing up, chin slightly lifts as you open your throat. Exhale, hands to throat center, heart, and down by your sides. So that's the sequence. Let's play with turning it into a moving meditation by truly focusing on a stream of breath, keeping it smooth and balanced, and trusting the body to follow so it really feels like your mind and body are riding or surfing the waves of your breath in continuous flow. Go at your pace, do any modifications you need so that your transitions can be as graceful as you can. Feet touching, here we go. Inhale, sweep your arms and gaze up as your palms meet. Exhale, hinge from your hips. Inhale, press with your fingertips, lift your heart and gaze forward. Exhale, step or float into chaturanga, lower all the way to the floor. Inhale, clasp your hands behind you, keep your feet on the floor in bound locust pose. Exhale, plant your hands, push up through plank and downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, bend your right knee, turn open at the hip. Inhale, draw your left hip further back. Exhale, round forward, step right foot inside of right hand, left knee down. Inhale, down to rise up, hooking your thumbs like an eagle. Exhale, coil your chest up, firming the belly in, drawing the tailbone down. Inhale, lower your hands and straighten your right leg, flexing the foot, look forward. Exhale, bow in to half split. Inhale, rebend your right knee, spin your left heel down for warrior one. Exhale, rise, arms overhead. Inhale, clasp your hands behind your back, coiling your chest, look up. Stay here or exhale, bow into humble warrior. Inhale, lower your hands, step into plank pose. Exhale, lower all the way down, arms wide open like wings. This time, inhale, lift everything you can, including your feet, full locust pose. Exhale, press the ground away through plank, then downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, bend the knee and turn open at your hip. Inhale, draw your right hip further back. Exhale, round forward, stepping the left foot inside of your left hand. Right knee down. Inhale, raise your arms and hook the other thumb for your eagle. Exhale, coil your chest up, gaze up. Inhale, lower your fingertips, straighten your left leg, flex the foot. Exhale, bow into yourself. Inhale, bend your left knee, spin your right heel down, prepare for warrior one. Exhale, rise with arms overhead, warrior one. Inhale, clasp your hands and coil your chest, look up. Stay here or exhale, bow in to humble warrior. Inhale, lower your hands, step into plank pose. Exhale, glide forward and all the way down. Open your arms wide. Inhale, lift your chest and everything you can. Gaze forward. Exhale, press the ground away through plank, back to downward facing dog. Steady gaze, still body, deep breaths. And sometimes it takes a first round of marrying movement and breath to feel that sense of synchronization. So let's try this one last time. Wrapping the second round up, bend your knees, look forward. Bottom of your exhale, lightly land at the top of your mat, feet touch. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, bow in. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale from throat, heart, and all the way down. Last round, continuous flow. Breathe in, gaze up towards the sky. Breathe out, bow in towards yourself. Inhale, offer your heart forward. Exhale, walk or float, chaturanga, then lower down. Clasp your hands, feet on the ground. Inhale, bound locust, lift your heart. Press the ground away through plank as you exhale to downward dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Inhale, draw your left hip back. Exhale, round forward, right foot inside of right hand, left knee down. Inhale, arms up into hooking the thumbs in eagle. Exhale, coil your chest up, lifting your chin, open your throat. Inhale, lower your fingertips, straighten your right leg, flex the foot. Exhale, bow into yourself, half split. Inhale, bend your right knee, spin the left heel down for warrior one. Exhale, rise, arms overhead to stand. Inhale, clasp your hands behind you, lifting your chest. Stay here or exhale, bow into humble or devotional warrior. Now touch the earth, hands in plank pose. Exhale, lower forward and all the way down. Arms wide open, ready to take flight. Inhale, lift everything you can, palms facing forward as the heart lifts. Exhale, press the ground away through plank, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind. Exhale, bend the knee, turn open at the hip. Inhale, draw your right hip back. Exhale, round forward, left foot inside of left hand, right knee down. Inhale, sweep your arms, thumbs hook like an eagle. Exhale, coil your chest up, gazing towards the sky. Inhale, lower your fingertips, straighten your left leg, flex the foot. Exhale, bow in towards Mother Earth. Inhale, rebend your left knee, spin right heel down, prepare for warrior one. Exhale, rise, arms overhead to stand. Inhale, clasp your hands behind your back, coil your chest, gaze up. Stay here or exhale, bow in, devotional or humble warrior. Inhale, lower your hands, step into plank. Exhale, feel your center alive as you lower to the earth. Open the arms, inhale, lift everything you can. Float your heart space open, throat open. Exhale, press your hands into the ground, lift back, downward dog, committing to stillness. When we can cultivate a connection to the feeling of stillness while in constant motion, we can establish meditation through movement. With bent knees, look ahead of your hands. Bottom of your exhale, walk or float to the top. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Let your feet touch, let your knees touch. Sink back towards your heels. Maybe graze the floor with your fingertips. Glide your shin bones back so as you look down at your toes, they are visible and they could lift off the floor. Then as you gaze forward, hug in your front ribs, lift up and broaden your chest. Release your shoulders down as your triceps wrap forward. Tuning into your breath with a steady gaze. Take one more inhalation, maybe play with sinking your hips just a little bit lower with a smile on your face. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart, rise all the way up. Bring your left hand to your left hip. Let's prepare for dancer pose. Flip your right palm to face up, right elbow close to your right hip. As you bend your right knee, lifting your heel towards your glute, keep anchoring your tailbone down towards your inner left heel. Catch hold of the inside of your right ankle or foot, or you might grab your strap, loop the top of your foot and hold that. Then as you keep your tailbone lengthening down, feel a slight lift of your frontal hip bones so your center is active and strong. Begin to kick your right leg towards straight behind you as if trying to enter warrior 3, hips squared, while you bring in your foot. So those contrasting motions help you to balance as you raise your left arm and lift your chest, slightly lifting your throat. One more deep breath here. We're going to enter half moon pose. So flexing your right foot, begin to straighten your right leg parallel to the floor behind you. Lower your left fingertips to the ground or a block, upper left corner from your left foot. Raise your right arm or bring it to your hip. Turn your chest completely to face your right wall. Gaze can be on the ground or up towards your right thumb. Feel as you're turning out your left leg by keeping your left foot exactly as it was when we entered dancer pose. You can energetically direct your left sitting bone towards your inner right heel, which is pressing towards your rear wall. Feel the expansion of your wings as you breathe through your heart space. With open throat, take one more confident inhalation. Sweep your right arm overhead and lower it next to the left. Turn your right hip to face the ground. Lift your chest, and you're now in modified warrior 3. Breathe in. Standing splits, fold in. See if you can keep lifting your right flex foot. Squaring your hips by spiraling your inner right thigh slightly towards the sky. You might opt to kick into a handstand prep, tapping the top leg with your bottom, stacking the shoulders over your hips, or hug your left calf with one or both arms, or go right into a standing forward fold with both feet on the ground. That's where we'll meet. Take your time, give yourself some play. Once you have come into your forward fold, take any kind of releasing breath, lion's breath, where you stick out your tongue with a mouth wide, or fluttering your lips, or any other kind. Then as your feet touch, bend your knees to touch. Sit back into Utkatasana, chair pose. Steady your eyes and breathing, and perhaps curl up the corners of your mouth. It's easy to start taking things a little bit too seriously, as I see myself do, when we're concentrating and trying to balance. Come back to the greater purpose. What's anything without love, play, and enjoyment. This is great music for this, actually. Satnam is Sanskrit for true self. Let's take one more breath. Come into the strength of your inner self. Root down, exhale, rise up. We did it. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Turn your left palm to face up, elbow close to your hip. Keep your tailbone lengthening down towards your inner right heel. As you bend your left knee next to the right, bring the heel towards your glute. Catch the inner ankle or foot, or use a strap. As you keep your two hips facing forward, feel a slight lift of your navel towards your spine. Begin to kick your left leg towards straight behind you as though entering warrior three while pulling the foot so the counter forces sustain your balance. As you raise your right arm, heart and throat. Entering half moon, it helps to look at the ground in front of your right foot. Flex your left foot, lower your right hand, upper right corner from your right foot. Straighten your left leg parallel to the floor behind you, left hand to left hip, or up towards the sky, stacking your wrists. With your chest turning to face your left wall, feel the space throughout your neck on all sides. As your right foot has remained the same as it was in dancer pose, feel your right sitting bone reach back towards your inner left heel, which reaches back towards your rear wall. Expanding your wings for a few last breaths in Ardha Chandrasana. Sweep your left arm overhead to meet the ground in front of your right foot. Turn your left outer hip to face the ground, re-leveling your hips, modified warrior three. Inhale, lift your heart and gaze forward. Keep lifting your left leg if you can as you bow towards your right in standing splits. Regardless of how high your left leg is lifting, feel that your two hips remain balanced and facing forward. Important for the safety and health of your spine. You might opt to place your hands a foot in front of your right toes and see if you can lightly tap your left leg with your right. With playing how you might stack your pelvis above your shoulders. And sometimes when I just think about it as that game, the expectation of trying to attain a handstand goes away. And sometimes it just becomes by surprise, just being open to what arises. And then whether you catch hold of your right calf with one or both hands and fold in some more, or you land the left foot next to the right in your choice of a forward fold. Let's take a few more breaths. And when you do land your 2 feet, let's prepare for a squat close to the ground, whether you decide to separate your feet a little wider than hip widths, turning out the legs. Again, knees in line with middle toes, and sit on a block or two or the floor. If the floor, you'll probably have to widen your stance. Or if it feels okay to let your pelvis hover. Some bodies, that's a natural thing. Some bodies, it's not so much. So just observe what your body's telling you it needs. Use your arms to splay open your inner thighs. Lift your chest. Now this mudra is called a lotus. It makes the shape of that flower where you bring the inner thumbs to touch, the outer pinky fingers to touch, and it creates a blossoming as the fingers or the petals spread. And as you place thumbs to the heart center, middle of the chest, it signifies the lotus is a great symbol of transcending challenge difficulties because it grows in muddy waters. but it's so beautiful, sprouting from what seems like darkness, this light of life, this living flower. And difficulties in mindfulness philosophy are an opportunity for us to connect with each other in humanity. Because in the suffering, we realize that we all have very similar basic needs, basic kinds of feelings, regardless of how they're communicated or received. So this gesture is a symbol of compassion. Is there any part of yourself, your body, your heart that's calling for your attention and loving listening? As you breathe in, allow space for whatever might arise, and perhaps nothing arises right now. Sometimes the effect comes later or not at all, but just be open. And as you breathe out, notice if there's any tendency to avoid or to grip. Can you smile at noticing without having to judge yourself? And loosen from any tendency. Just a practice of awareness. We're going to enter a supported, heart-opening posture, restorative pose. So if you do have two blocks, that will be useful. If you don't, a cylindrical as you lie with it across the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, or just lie flat on your back, and that's okay. But we'll want to bring the feet together in Supta Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So the knees splay open, and if you have discomfort in the thighs lifting up, you could place an object under each outer thigh, equal in height for both sides, to support your legs. Now the blocks, one at its tallest height, the very rear of your mat will support your head. And the second at its second level, so here's the tallest, second, and lowest. So second level can cross the mat, spacing the blocks apart so that when you lie back, that second level block will land right under your shoulder blades, just underneath. Ladies, where the bra strap would be, so that your shoulders can roll back towards the ground as you turn your palms to face up, landing your arms to rest slightly away from your torso. And with the head completely supported by the second block, observe a natural space throughout your neck. You might close your eyes as you take your last shifting around to make any adjustments to ensure that you're facilitating balance and symmetry in left and right shoulders, left and right hips. And once you have assured that, feel what is supporting your physical body. Can you allow it to support you? Can you fall into that support with trust? Perhaps it takes a few last deep breaths to ensure the body to trust the support. And when you finish the next deep exhalation, if you're still controlling your breath, let that go too. Can you trust the power of your own breath to breathe life force into your body and to release what doesn't serve it? Being still requires trust as well, that you are safe, that you can go inward. So allow your attention to soften deeper inside of yourself, beyond physical layers, into the light of lotus that lies within. For the sake of opening the throat center a bit more physically, you might opt to lower the block that's under your skull 1 degree, 2 degrees, or completely, allowing the chin to tilt back further. Feel into what parts of your body may be ready to begin moving softly, easily. Perhaps you use your hands to lift your thighs, setting your 2 feet onto the ground. Nurturing this inward presence by perhaps keeping your eyes closed. And if it feels right for you, maybe you turn over to your right side, rolling off of any props. Taking your time to press into the earth's support to rise. Sitting. For just a minute, I invite you to sit in silence, feeling into what do you feel in this moment? What do you need to nurture yourself with? As you might choose to join your palms at your heart, this gesture of gratitude to the guidance within, gratitude to this community that shares their practice and energy with you, and any other thing you might feel gratitude for. So in giving ourselves space for compassion, how might we offer a compassionate presence for anyone who comes our way? How can we look for the feelings and needs behind their words, behind their actions? As wise mindfulness teacher Thich Nhat Hanh says, when someone is lashing out in anger, they're actually suffering within. Let's close with one chant of Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.